Close your eyes and feel the morning breeze on your face. Chapter 4, Morning at Green Gables. It was broad daylight when Anne awoke and sat up in bed, staring confusedly at the window, through which a flood of cheery sunshine was pouring. Outside, something white and feathery waved across glimpses of blue sky. For a moment, she could not remember where she was. First came a delightful thrill, as of something very pleasant. Then, a horrible remembrance. This was Green Gables, and they didn't want her because she wasn't a boy. But it was morning. And yes, it was a cherry tree in full bloom outside of her window. With a bound, she was out of bed. She pushed up the sash. It went up stiffly and creakily, and it stuck so tight that nothing was needed to hold it up. Anne dropped on her knees and gazed out into the June morning, her eyes glistening with delight. Oh, wasn't it beautiful? Suppose she wasn't really going to stay here. She would imagine she was. There was scope for imagination here. A huge cherry tree grew outside, so close that its boughs tapped against the house. It was so thick set with blossoms that hardly a leaf was to be seen. On both sides of the house was a big orchard, one of apple trees and one of cherry trees, showered over with blossoms. In the garden below were lilac trees purple with flowers, and their dizzily sweet fragrance drifted up to the window on the morning wind. Below the garden, a green field lush with clover sloped down to the hollow where the brook ran and where scores of white birches grew. Beyond it was a hill, green and feathery, with spruce and fir. Off to the left were the big barns, and beyond them, away down over green, low-sloping fields, was a sparkling blue glimpse of sea. Anne's beauty-loving eyes lingered on it all, taking everything greedily in. She had looked on so many unlovely places in her life, poor child, but this was as lovely as anything she had ever dreamed. She knelt there, lost to everything, until she was startled by a hand on her shoulder. Marilla had come in unheard. "It's time you were dressed," she said curtly. "Oh, isn't it wonderful?" Anne said, waving her hand comprehensively at the good world outside. It's a big tree, said Marilla, and it blooms great, but the fruit don't amount to much, never, small and wormy. Oh, I don't mean just the tree. It's radiantly lovely. It blooms as if it meant it, but I meant everything. The garden and the orchard and the brook. Don't you feel as if you just loved the world on a morning like this? And I can hear the brook laughing all the way up here. Have you ever noticed what cheerful things brooks are? They're always laughing. I'm so glad there's a brook near Green Gables. I shall always like to remember that there is a brook at Green Gables, even if I never see it again. I'm not in the depths of despair this morning. I never can be in the morning. Isn't it a splendid thing that there are mornings? But I feel very sad. I've just been imagining that it was really me you wanted after all. It was a great comfort while it lasted. But the worst of imagining things is that the time comes when you have to stop, and that hurts. You'd better get dressed, said Marilla. Breakfast is waiting. Wash your face and comb your hair. Anne was downstairs in 10 minutes' time, with her clothes neatly on, her hair brushed and braided. I'm pretty hungry this morning, she announced. The world doesn't seem such a howling wilderness as it did last night. I'm so glad it's not rainy today, because it's easier to be cheerful and bear up under affliction on a sunshiny day. For pity's sake, hold your tongue, said Marilla. You talk entirely too much for a little girl.
Thereupon held her tongue so obediently that her continued silence made Marilla rather nervous. Matthew also held his tongue, but this was natural. Marilla had an uncomfortable feeling that while this odd child's body might be there, her spirit was far away in some remote, airy cloudland. Yet Matthew wished to keep her. That was Matthew's way. Take a whim into his head and cling to it with the most amazing silent persistency. Can you wash dishes right? Asked Marilla. Pretty well. I'm better at looking after children, though. It's such a pity you haven't any here for me to look after. I don't feel as if I wanted any more children. Your problem enough. Matthew is a most ridiculous man. I think he's lovely, said Anne. He is so very sympathetic. I felt that he was a kindred spirit as soon as ever I saw him. Marilla told Anne she might go out of doors and amuse herself until dinner time. Anne flew to the door, face alight, eyes glowing. On the very threshold she stopped short. I don't dare go out, she said. If I can't stay here, there is no use in my loving Green Gables. And if I go out there, I'll not be able to help loving it. It's hard enough now. There is no use in loving things if you have to be torn from them, is there? And the cherry tree outside, I called it Snow Queen. I'm going to drive once and settle this thing, said Marilla grimly. I'll take Anne with me, and Mrs. Spencer will send her back to Nova Scotia. Still Matthew said nothing. Matthew hitched the sorrel into the buggy. As they drove through the gate, Matthew said, to nobody in particular, Little Jerry Blode was here this morning, and I told him I guessed I'd hire him for the summer. Marilla made no reply, but she hit the unlucky sorrel such a vicious clip with the whip that the mare whizzed indignantly down the lane. The buggy bounces away, and Matthew leans over the gate, looking wistfully after them. The beauty of the morning is heavy with the sadness of the journey. Close your eyes now and dream of the Snow Queen and the Laughing Brook.